Hello, how you doing? Hope you had a good weekend. It's Monday, which means it's time for us to look back at 5 things we learned from the weekend's football. It's really not very catchy, that title, at all. Anyway, it was a busy weekend in the world of football, and I'm here to go back over 5 things that I picked out, I've noticed from the weekend. But first, thanks to everyone who watched my song I released on Friday on the channel. It's about Chris Sutton and how much I like him as a pundit. And the best thing was, Chris Sutton liked it as well, which is great. So thanks to him, thanks to everyone that watched the video, commented, shared it, and enjoyed it. I'm going to be doing a new song every Friday on my channel. And of course, every Monday, of 5 things we learned from the weekend's football. At number 1, not really from the weekend, but from sort of a few days beforehand, from last week, Chelsea released images of their new stadium, which has been given the green light to go ahead and build. And it looks a bit weird, let's be honest. It doesn't really look like a football stadium. In fact, it looks more like, well, lots of different random things, as these Twitter users pointed out. An egg slice, an ashtray, a cage. I think it looks a little bit like a lampshade as well. It's a weird design, and these days stadiums aren't just stadiums. They have to have a sort of stamp on them. Stadiums just can't just be 4 sides or the corners filled in as well. And normal stadiums, there always has to be a sort of twist on it. I don't know, that just kind of takes away from the stadium for me. I quite like rickety old stadiums. I'm a Palace fan, so obviously I'm gonna champion Selhurst Park at this point. It's a rickety old stadium, but it's got character. I like that. I like going away to older stadiums. I like Goodison Park at Everton. Great old stadium, but still can get the atmosphere and something special at it. Why can't a stadium just look like a stadium? Why does it have to look so crazy? I mean, I'm still going to go there to watch Palace play there next season, if we stay up this year. The second thing I learned this weekend is that no player is bigger than the team. Specifically, Paul Pogba and Dimitri Payet. Now, Pogba played for United against Liverpool, gave away a penalty for handball, had a really bad game, tried for the rest of the game to get back into it, struggled, to be honest. And yet, around the side of the pitch, there was his face on the advertising boards flashing up every minute. Before the game, Twitter gave him his very own emoji. The guy is more about the brand than about the football, and I don't think you can be like that until you are the best player in the world. He might be the most expensive, but he's not the best. If Cristiano Ronaldo had all this brand stuff, and he has quite a bit anyway, but if he had an emoji and his face on the advertising boardings, you'd be like, okay, fair enough, because he scores most week and his team wins stuff. Pogba, certainly right now, I know at Juve he won stuff, now in the Premier League he's still got to prove himself, so put all that stuff to one side, become the best player in the world, then you can revel in the dabs and the emojis. And the same goes for Payet at West Ham, because he told West Ham this week he wants to leave. And yet West Ham, they may have got ahead of themselves, because they've got a giant mural of him at the stadium, the London Stadium / Olympic Stadium, which they had to have guarded by a steward this weekend. And they've got a giant shirt with his name and number up at the stadium as well. And yet now he wants to leave, didn't play against Palace, doesn't want to be at the club any longer. I think maybe we should just concentrate on the clubs. Forget about the big names and the players until they've become a legend. You know, Arsenal have got Ian Wright and Omri and Pires plastered on their stadium, fair enough. Wait till they've become legends. Don't make them legends before they've become legends. The third thing I learnt this weekend is that Pep Guardiola is cracking under the pressure, big time. They lost 4-0 Man City at Everton, blown away off the park. Young Tom Davies having a brilliant game for Everton, scoring a great goal, and putting the likes of Yaya Toure and De Bruyne and David Silva in his pocket. Unbelievable. The guy is only 18, 19. He's a kid, and yet he looks absolutely brilliant. But Guardiola, I don't know if this is a case of just bad luck, or it's not working for him here, or the fact that the Premier League is actually way better than the Spanish leagues and the German leagues than he thought it was going to be. He's cracking, man. His post-match press conferences look like a man who is just falling apart. I always thought he was quite this suave, sophisticated, clever, intelligent kind of guy who would say that his post-match press conferences would be him sort of holding court and everyone being like, yeah, that sounds smart. Now it's like a guy who's like, I don't know, in a bad relationship and he doesn't want to say anything. He can't even make eye contact with the reporters. He's losing it. He's completely cracking, and it's very entertaining to see. It's kind of a shame because I've got a lot of respect for him. I think he's a great manager, but maybe the Premier League is just too difficult for him because he's cracking, and as a result, City are struggling as well. The fourth thing I learned this weekend is that James Milner is the key to Liverpool winning the title this season. Now I know what you're thinking, Liverpool probably won't win the title because yes, they're great going forward, but they're too inconsistent at the back. But James Milner, who scored for Liverpool at the weekend, got a penalty in the first half to open the scoring, well taken penalty, after Pogba, who we mentioned earlier, had done a ridiculous handball. There was a stat released after that James Milner has scored in 46 games in the top flight, and he's never lost any of those games. And that's a pretty incredible stat for a player that mostly plays in midfield. He is joined in that stat with Darius Vassell, former Man City and Aston Villa striker. And you think, okay, fair enough, a striker scoring goals and not losing games, that's good because he's meant to score goals. For a midfielder who's now playing at left back, Milner, that's an incredible stat. So Liverpool have got to find a way somehow to keep getting Milner on the score sheet, because if they do that and this run continues, man, they could win the title. You know, off the back of James Milner, who's the last player you'd think that they'd be doing that. You know, you got Firmino and Lallana and Sturridge and Coutinho. James Milner is the key to Liverpool winning this title. So win more penalties, I don't know, get him on free kicks, get him up there for corners and stuff, get Milner on the score sheet, Liverpool might win the title. And the final thing I learned this weekend is that Graham Taylor was a lovely, lovely, lovely man. Now, unfortunately, the former England and Watford manager passed away last week. But there were countless lovely stories that came out from people he worked with at clubs, his chairman and players that just went to show what a lovely man he is. There was a story from former Watford midfielder Gifton Williams, who said that when he had a baby, he was kind of struggling to make ends meet. And Graham Taylor called him into his office and wrote him a cheque for £400 from his own personal account just to help Noel Williams and his young family get by, which is an amazing thing to do. And you'd think, you know, maybe I would do that in that situation, but not a lot of people do. And Graham Taylor did. And there were countless other stories of people he worked with that just kind of showed what a nice guy he was. And there was footage from that famous documentary when he was England manager of a fan, I think an England fan, I'm not sure, racially abusing John Barnes, and everyone else was sort of sitting there sort of ignoring it, and Taylor turned around and berated this fan and told him, you know, that's a human being. And at the time, it's kind of unheard of for people to do that. So it was a real shame for the football world to lose someone that nice, because you kind of feel there aren't that many nice people maybe in the football community, but it was wonderful to hear what a great person, just a fantastic human being Graham Taylor was. And the world is a worse place off for losing him. So those are my 5 things I learned from this weekend's football. Comment below. Let me know what you learned from this weekend's football. Also, drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I got these videos, 5 things every Monday, and a new song every Friday. And if you're one of my new subscribers, we've been getting quite a lot recently, welcome aboard. Thank you. Please comment below, say hi. I'm going to jump into the comments as well at some point, say hi to you back. And thank you for coming on board. That's it. I'm off to put money on James Milner to be top goal scorer this season.